Okay, we have here an iPhone 13 Pro which has no network. This phone has no motherboard problem. The problem is in between the layers. It has cold solder joints, and that is what we are going to solve. How we are going to solve it? We will just reball the layer, and that should solve our problem. What I always do is I disassemble the layer with 200 degrees on the soldering on the heat pad, and I will use my heat gun together with it, which is on 400. You can also use 350, 400. I'm using 400 degree, and I will just go slowly over it. Make sure you keep moving your hand. Actually, you're not moving your hand, you're moving, look, I will show you. What you're moving is your, you see that? You're moving your, how do you say, wrist. You're moving your wrist, not your hand, because your hand will get tired. In this case, you're moving your wrist. You keep going over it until it's disassembled, the upper layer. Mostly it takes about 1.5 minutes because we are using the preheater and the heat gun together. Also my temperature is really high on the heat gun, so it won't take that long. Look. Now that the board is hot, I will just put flux on it, turn off the preheater, and also on this one. Now the flux is on. Take this one off the board. This thermal paste, you can either press it or you can remove it. I usually remove it. I'm not a fan. Let me turn on the microscope so you can see under the microscope. And now the CPU board. Why I'm removing it now? Later I will try to clean this board after solder is removed, so these don't get mixed up anywhere else. Okay, let me turn on my air filter. And put on my gloves because I really don't like when flux touches my hands. I hate that feeling. And so I am left-handed. I hold my solder iron in my left hand, and my movement would be from downside to the upper side, which is of course weird for the right-handed people, but yeah, I cannot change that. Now this side is clean. Now we will do the upper side. Just make sure you don't touch any components next to where you are cleaning. We are almost there with cleaning the upper board. On this side has a lot of like really strong ground contact, so you need to give your wick the time to come to a certain temperature, and don't try to scratch the board. Like, don't push it. You see that? Even look, what I do in this case is I put some 138-degree solder on my wick and I go over it. Look how easy and clean it is now. And for this area we will use a really thin wick. Why? Because yeah, I just don't want to touch any components using the wick. Go slowly over it, no rush. Also on this side, that's it. Now we will clean the logic board. Start from the upper side because that one is cold, that side. And grab a clean wipe cloth and clean the whole board. Almost like nothing happened. Now we will do the RF board. With RF board, what I like to do is, instead of forcing my wick over it, I would just mix the old solder with 138-degree solder first. This way I don't have to force my wick later on the logic board. Almost there. And now we will use this small wick. And you will see how easy it will clean. Look. I am not forcing the wick. I am not pushing. Last bit of left. Slowly I will gain more confidence doing these longer version of videos, and then we will do MacBooks, like live repair MacBooks. And most probably soon I will have a training with Lucas Allen and Raheem together. If you guys know them, we will start doing Windows. Yes, RF board is clean. Now just take a wipe That looks clean, right? Clean job. What I tried is I tried to not touch these ground sides as much as possible. Try to keep the board clean, and this is why I use this small wick. I don't go this size or this size. No, I don't use that. I use the smallest version, this one, because you look, even with this it barely fits when it spreads out. Now we will reball this board. I will turn off my air filter. We need iPhone 13 Pro. Yeah, it's a 13 Pro. This is 13 Pro Max. And 16. This is 13 Pro. iPhone 16, 14, 17, 13. 4 in 1. Oh, took the wrong one, sorry. Yes, this is the right one. Yes, we'll do this under microscope. And to reball, it's okay. This solder is wet enough. This is 158 aunt solder. I was doing with the 183 for a long time because I never trusted 138, but this is really good. I'm using it for almost a year and I had no returns. I think one of the best solder from China. Okay, so in order to avoid getting soldered there, I will use this blade. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. Now we will make it a little bit wet so when we take off the stencil, it doesn't, that the solder stays inside. You see that? Look, all the solder is inside except one here, but I think this is ground pad, so we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, this is a ground pad, and everything else is perfectly fine. And now we will put this board on the preheater. Also on 200 degrees. Look, 200 degrees. And in about 2 minutes, the solder will melt and we will turn it off and clean it first, then apply flux, and then I will put back the AP board. I think in about 2 minutes it should be done. So what you do in 2 minutes, you just stare at it. I think it's already done. It's faster than I thought. This 158, yep, 335. Looks clean, yeah. We actually don't even need to clean it. It looks really clean. No, yeah, it looks really clean. So I will just let it cool down so we can apply some flux. You see it's already cooling down. It's already done. Apply some flux on it. It's still boiling though. And now we will install back the AP board, the CPU board. Turn on the heater again. Again, we will wait till 350, 335 and turn it off. Almost there. Yeah, I think it's perfect. Just turn it off. Let's check under microscope if everything is fine with the board. Yeah, it looks fine, right? No, it's okay. Now we will assemble the board and test it. This is the housing and the screen. Let me clean this first. These 13 series boards are the easiest to assemble, so this shouldn't take long time. Unless I F it off. Everything seems fine. How I test it is in Apple Diagnostics first. Oh, phone is turning on fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it will boot to Apple Diagnostics. $9V. That looks actually good. I think the battery is like charged or what? Yep. There you go. This is where my heart is always beating, because I only want to see good signs. Run Diagnostics Mobile Resource Inspector. Chop chop. Faster. Where is my phone? Okay, Apple Pay works, cellular baseband, cellular RF, eSIM okay, Face ID okay. This client, if I can remember it correctly, he said that the eSIM had problems. Zainab zei eSIM problemen?
Ja, volgens mij wel.
Ah, 13 Pro leest geen simkaart.
Hij leest geen simkaart en hij heeft eSIM gebruikt. Zeg.
Ja. Ja, eSIM problem. And SIM card was not reading. That's it. This repair is done. I hope you learned something. And if you have any suggestions for me, please let me know.